So here's some actual good news when it comes to regulating generative AI. So I just saw that this web page came up about the Cyber Administration of China trying to label AI generated content and pretty much just enforce it, finding ways to legislate it. And this is very interesting and downright important. It seems like it's the only way forward when it comes to just making artificially generated content, making sure that the public is aware of what they're seeing and how it propagates. So essentially they're asking here for for people's opinion on this. I'm going to say that I'm just reading a translation from Microsoft Edge. In fact, you can see if I refresh the page that yeah, it's all official, it's all in Chinese. I'm just translating using Microsoft Edge's in-browser translator. So this is really just my interpretation. So if I remember correctly, it should be around here that it says that AI-generated synthetic content refers to information such as text, images, audio, and video that is produced, generated, or synthesized using AI technology. So AI-generated synthetic content identifiers include both explicit and implicit identifiers. Explicit logos refer to logos that are added in the interface of generating synthetic content or interactive scenes, presented in the form of text, sound, graphics, etc., can be clearly perceived by the users. Implicit identification refers to identification that is added to data generated by the synthetic content file by technical measures and is not easily perceived by the user. So what I'm gathering here, and I think they're going to justify this later, is that they both want watermarking and such measures and metadata that can, on the back end, label the files accurately that are either text, audio, and image-based content, so that the user always knows. But the also on the back end, any program, any application would also know that the content is artificially generated. So this by itself is already huge, and it's already sets the groundwork for something very, very efficient and productive to be done when it comes to regulating AI. Because at this point, if it is as I am interpreting it, it is still pretty early, but if it is as I am seeing it, then if this is enforced and it is effective, any browser extension or even a new browser as well by default can just read immediately all of the information and identify the labeling, the metadata, and filter it out. So I'm going to read a bit more. Where the generation and synthesis services provided by service provider fall under the circumstances of the first paragraph, provisions of the administration of DIFSINs and Internet Information Services, the following requirement shall be followed to add an explicit label to the generated and synthesized content. Add signs such as text prompts or generic symbol prompts at appropriate locations at the beginning, end, or middle of the text, or add conspicuous reminder signs on the interface of interactive scenes or around the text. Add signs such as audio prompts or audio rhythm prompts at the beginning, end, or middle of the audio, or add conspicuous cue signs in the interface of interactive scenes. Add conspicuous reminders signs in appropriate positions in the picture. Add conspicuous reminder signs at the appropriate location on video start screen and around the video's playback. And may add conspicuous reminder signs at the appropriate locations at the end and middle of the video. When presenting a virtual scene, a conspicuous reminder sign shall be added at an appropriate position on the start screen, and a conspicuous reminder mark may be added at the appropriate location during the continuous service of the virtual scene. Other generation and synthesis service scenarios shall add explicit markings with conspicuous prompting effects based on their own application characteristics. Okay, so I'm reading this and I'm feeling like the translation is not very good. I don't know what's prompting effects and on their own application characteristics means, but again, just on a first level, base level reading, it seems like they want to watermark, but also to provide whatever prompts led to the creation of whatever was generated and was posted publicly. So again, this is really huge because it forces the public to always know. It makes so the public always know that what they're seeing is not real. And because I think, it's the public data, it's probably going to be the public's property. It's also, it's also fair for the public to know which prompts were made its that the it's also for, the public to know which prompts made the thing that they're seeing, because it'd be probably very easy to deviously put in the keywords for the prompt, something like someone's property, an artist's name, or an actual public figure. And if the prompting appears also on the generated content being displayed, then you would know if such a thing was attempted. I think this is a really good failsafe, and it's honestly crazy nobody thought of this before, if it is indeed what I'm thinking it is. So there's more articles on this, and Article 5. Okay, so I encourage everyone to go read this, especially if you know Chinese, because you can get a first-hand reading on that as opposed to a translation, and then you can inform me better in the comments your interpretation and what you think it means. But it does say that file metadata refers to the descriptive information embedded in the header of a file in a specific encoding format, which is used to record the source attributes used in copyright and other information content of the file. So it pretty much solidifies what I was saying earlier, that it seems that they're attempting to put metadata on everything that's created by AI. So I don't know how do you go around putting metadata on something like text, and even on other types of content that should be easier, like video and audio files. When you think about it, you can just go on Premiere or any software whatsoever and re-render it, re-export it, and does the metadata remain once you do that? Because I don't think every single software has been updated for that case. I can just put it on Premiere CS6 or something, and will the metadata stay on the re-rendered file? I don't know. I don't think this is an airtight solution, but it is, as far as I know, the best possible solution I have seen thus far. Because here in the West, in the Anglosphere whatsoever, the free market solution seems to be putting copyright in the forefront of everything. AI infringes copyrights, and it does, and I don't want to completely devalue its effectiveness, but it cannot be an end in itself. Like the whole copyright thing cannot be an end in itself, because if it is, at some point it's going to backfire. It's going to have whichever is the strongest sovereign when it comes to copyright holding. It's going to give them all the power over everyone who doesn't. So it's good insofar as it exposes the weakness of the strongest AI providers, the CEOs and whatnot, OpenAI, as in they are propagating in the current system. But it cannot, if it's an end in itself, it will backfire. And I think something like this that provides the possibility for a space where everyone knows what's fake and what's not, to be the best possible solution. Because then actual human creativity and actual culture may continue to thrive instead of being involved in AI slop and just a gray goo of everything. Because then you actually have spaces where online you will know immediately, okay, this was created by a person, therefore it's not just LLM slop, therefore there's actually the actual intent and creativity behind this, and I'm not being led astray to believe that it isn't, that this is some this is just an actual real footage or a real picture, because that is dangerous beyond just the arts. And I'm speaking this as an artist who it belongs to a field who has been very deeply affected by it. So, we're being kind of the canaries in the coal mine. Goldman Sachs has pretty much said that about 300 million jobs are at stake because of this, which is a really high number. And at the very least we can do is lay the groundwork for us to know what's real and what not, when we have become so dependent on the digital infrastructure of the web. So it might be that the future of the web isn't even worldwide, because we must not get a hold of ourselves here, because China is doing this, that we are also able to do it. China has a famously closed off internet, but it might be that the future of the internet, now that the AI Pandora's box has been opened, the future of the internet, the future of the web might not be worldwide. It might be legislation-wide. So let's say Europe and China and Russia maybe, we all accept this type of legislation, but India does not. And that's a very big problem, because that would mean that we are allowing our internet to be infested by a country who does not pass this legislation on AI. So we are essentially being liable to have all of our web to be completely taken over by slop and bots and fake, just completely the possibility to undermine democracy due to an infinite amount of fake information is huge. And it's a real danger. So it might be that countries in the future that adhere to this type of legislation are motivated to close themselves off from close other countries who do not adhere to this type of things, to close them off from accessing their own web. This might just be the type of future of the internet. And like, it's not ideal, I would say, but it might be the best that we have. Because I mean, I can't be too closed off on the type of solution that it might be. Maybe it doesn't have to be direct legislation. Maybe it can be a market-based solution, because there is actual consumer demand for a way to filter out AI content and knowing what you're seeing is real. That's an actual consumer demand that's not being met, because Silicon Valley is enforcing their growth before profit mindset and disrupting every industry so they can essentially find a problem to their solution. And that's why you're seeing AI being put everywhere. And there's no actual way to properly legislate this on their country, because things like the quote-unquote Chamber of Progress that is made of some of the wealthiest companies of the world that are all adhering to this type of technology, they're lobbying governments so powerfully, like in every orifice, that there's very little way to have the public's goods as your priority when it comes to a country that is being so lobbied by these companies. Because collectively, all the companies in the Chamber of Progress, and that should be probably Chamber of Progress Showcase, and there's more like this, but collectively, this thing, let me see if I can read the companies which belong to this thing. Which companies, Chamber of Progress, which companies belong? Yeah, so Apple, Facebook, Google, Twitter, Uber, Zillow, blah, 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 Instacart, and there's more than just the Chamber of Progress. There's other institutions that are trying to prevent legislation against the with enough regulation for AI, because they think they might lose market share due to that. But you know, it's the public's good that it's at stake, and this collectively all these companies own like 10% of the entire world's wealth, like the entire GDP. So what a country that's so governed by the liberal free market, how can they properly regulate one of the most dangerous technologies that's ever been created? It's you can't. So it feels like so far this is our best bet. A regulation to put metadata and apt watermarking by law on every single content generated by AI. And then someone must provide, then the next step would be someone to provide services that can aptly filter out AI content from the internet. Because then I think the internet might grow with, or despite of generative AI, and culture as a whole might progress and not be absorbed by the gray goo that is generative slop. I think that's a very positive future. Like you will be able to separate the cream from the crop. What better could it be than having a place where you know for sure that everything that you are seeing is not fake? This is not just a matter of like for creativity, but for cognition as a whole. Like we generative AI just being led on its own devices is mentally atrophying and creates an apathy to real content and real issues. So I think this is incredibly important, and it just came out, and I'm not really seeing people talk about it. So that's why I felt the need to make this video. And honestly, this is just my interpretation. I repeat, I've only read a translation of this page by Microsoft Edge. Anyone who knows a slight bit of Chinese, please let me know what this might be about. What is more likely. What is the most likely interpretation of this? Because I'm still kind of in the dark. But the only reason why I'm kind of excited about this is because I've been trying to find the silver lining of this whole thing for years now. And this very similar idea popped into my head years ago about how to aptly regulate AI. And this seems so close to that it almost seems like I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. That maybe the world will not be completely enveloped by fucking the end of creativity and just generative AI slop. There might be a future for humanity in all of this, aside from the effective accelerationists and test-creel singularitards. Like, maybe there is a future for human literacy and creativity and all that we care to make. And it's we have to carve our own place in this. We need to find places in the web that are astray from AI, and this seems to be the only way to do it. I repeat, I don't think copyright is the most following copyright is the most advisable thing. It's only good insofar as it showcases the weakness of all of these LLM companies, not as a good in itself. And so I think we should be trying to do this. I know we're not. China is a very particular country, and it's very hard. It's much harder for other countries that follow a more liberal approach to do something like this, but I at least want us to pay attention to how this develops, and because it might be that this is what lays the groundwork for a coexistence of humanity and AI in the web. So I think this is the best possible outcome that I'm seeing in practice, and I think we should be doing something similar. And I want this to propagate. I want people to be aware of this, and hopefully we can learn from here on out. I'm really tired of this whole AI thing, the whole generative AI thing, and this has been one of the only silver linings that I have managed to find. I hope you can see in it as well. Hopefully I'm not mistaken on how I'm interpreting this, but I don't know. This might be the shining star in this whole sludge-filled artificial fucking, I don't know, man. I just hope you read this article by yourself and claim your own interpretation and just let me know. All right? So I'm signing out for now. It's just been a quick video. I just wanted to read this and showcase it. Bye bye.